Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Faye Kwan. Powerlifter Bonnie Bunyau has done it again, clinching his second Paralympic gold. Not only that, he's also smashed his own world record in the process. The 25-year-old Sarawakian powerhouse made his mark right from the start. With an opening lift of 221 kilograms, Bonnie was already well ahead of his competitors. On his second attempt, Bonnie hoisted 226 kilograms, further cementing his dominance in the men's 72-kilogram category. With the gold medal already secured, Bonnie raised the bar to 232 kilograms, shattering his previous world record of 231 kilograms set just last year at the World Championships. Bonnie joined badminton ace Chia Lik Ho, who won the men's singles gold in the SU5 category just last Sunday. Police have secured a 5-day remand order for a school bus driver known as Abang Bus, who is accused of recording videos of primary schoolgirls to post on TikTok. The 24-year-old suspect was arrested in Simpang Renggam following reports that the videos and accompanying comments constituted sexual harassment against children.
Johor Police Chief M. Kumar confirmed that the suspect was arrested at 2:57 a.m. on Friday after receiving reports that the videos and comments he posted amounted to sexual harassment against children. The case is being investigated under Section 15 (A)(3) of the Sexual Offences Against Children Act 2017 for repeated inappropriate contact with minors and Section 15(2) of the Child Act 2001 for the illegal publication of children's images. The bus driver's TikTok account, which primarily featured videos of schoolgirls, has over 600,000 followers. In one video, he referred to a schoolgirl as his crush. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri condemned the driver's actions, calling them completely unacceptable and stressing that such behaviour should never be tolerated.
Discussions on the establishment of an Asian Monetary Fund are underway, says Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. However, he says this should not be considered as an alternative, but rather a complement to existing international financial institutions.
Speaking to Russian news agencies RIA Novosti and RT, Anwar said he proposed the setup of the fund to counteract external pressure. The Prime Minister revealed that he had raised the issue with Japan, China and ASEAN nations, with negotiations taking place. He was speaking at the sidelines of the Eastern Economic Forum in the city of Vladivostok, which runs from Tuesday to Friday.
Malaysia is on track to become an aged nation by 2040, a timeline sooner than anticipated by the Department of Statistics Malaysia. According to Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Muhammad Uzair Mahidin, over 17% of the population will be aged 60 and above in the next 16 years.
Currently, 11.6% of the population of 3.9 million people are in this age group. This demographic is expected to rise to 17.3% or 6.4 million people by 2040, out of a population of 37.1 million. Under United Nations guideline, a country is considered as an aged society when over 14% of its population is aged 65 and older. Data from the Statistics Department showed that Perak currently has the highest percentage of senior citizens at 14.9%, followed by Sarawak with 13.4% and Kedah with 13.3%.
Malaysia Airlines is committed to rebuilding trust among its customers. This is the message from the Group Managing Director of Malaysia Aviation Group, or MAG, Datuk Captain Isham Ismail, following complaints from passengers affected by the recent series of flight cancellations, rerouting and delays.
So our aspiration to do this network cut for the next 3 months is to ensure that we come out very strong in 2025. No more, nothing else stopping us. That's the focus. And Malaysia Airlines is a safe airline. We do not hide behind curtains. We find there are things that which is not right, we stop. We check ourselves.
Last week, MAG announced a reduction in its network following multiple disruptions to its services that took place in recent weeks, involving 20% of its capacity. Isham attributed the problem to a global shortage of aircraft parts that had affected the on-time delivery of its new aircraft orders, which then impacted its fleet planning. He explained that the decision to downscale the group's network this quarter is to ensure safety and reliability of their flights, as well as stabilizing their operations ahead of a growth period beginning next year. Isham also apologized to Malaysia Airlines customers who are affected by the group's network reduction exercise.
From 2019 to 2023, more than 4,400 deaths due to suicide were recorded in Malaysia. Ahead of World Suicide Prevention Day on September 10th, clinical psychologist and founder of Relate Malaysia, Dr. Chua Suk Ning, discusses the need to change the narrative on suicide and address the stigma around it.
Having thoughts of death is actually fairly common, right? And helping the person who is experiencing the distress, but also helping the community on how to respond to it, right? So what do you say if someone has suicidal ideation? So I think that's first is, there's a lot of awareness building, and there's a lot of saying it's not about us versus them, which is one of the key things that maintains stigma. We often see PSAs that says, well, if you need help, you go for it. Very few people are still coming out now to say, well, I needed help, so I went for it. And I think those messages, research has shown that those are just more powerful messages. So we need to address the stigma. We can see the stigma not only at the social level, the individual level, but also institutionally. We're not getting a lot of funding. In comparison to other things, right? That we're not getting a lot of funding for suicide prevention. For suicide awareness is still very much a taboo topic in our country.
Dr. Chua emphasized the importance of publicly available suicide data to guide effective prevention strategies.
We need the accurate reporting to understand the scope of the problem. We need to know who's most vulnerable, the demographic profile. We need to also know the means of it, because we know that if we limit or restrict certain means, suicide actually reduces, right? And so that's one of the ways that we can then develop prevention interventions. So without the data, we're kind of feeling away in the dark, right? We don't know how big it is. We feel like it's big. We don't know whether we are effective. We think we are. And so, but this is such a major public health issue, right? One life lost is not just one life lost. It's 50 people around that one life being affected, right? And you can kind of see the dominoes effect, right? 50 people are affected, then 50 more will be affected, and so on. So it's really the society being impacted eventually by the lives lost to suicide.
We'll be back with more after the break. Stay tuned.
University Malaya UM is expected to offer a cardiothoracic specialist training course this October.
There will be no U-turn on the implementation of the Vehicle Entry Permit VEP for all foreign vehicles entering Malaysia from Singapore.
Diesel sales at petrol stations have decreased by 30% within the first week of the fuel subsidy rationalisation on June 10th.
Penstreaman ataupun muat turun kandungan haram seperti penggunaan kotak TV Android adalah aktiviti yang sangat berisiko dan boleh mendedahkan anda kepada malware, virus, ransom dan juga penipuan seperti scam dan juga judi atas talian. Elakkan daripada stream atau download haram. Ingat, layan ori, jangan curi.
Welcome back. In a rare move, Georgia state officials in the U.S. have arrested the father of the 14-year-old suspect involved in a school shooting that killed 4 people on Wednesday. They say the father knowingly allowed his son to possess the murder weapon. Colin Gray was charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children.
14-year-old son Colt Gray has been charged with 4 counts of felony murder and will be tried as an adult in the Apalachee High School shooting. Officials said Colt used a semi-automatic rifle to carry out the attack, which killed 2 teachers and 2 14-year-old students and wounded 9 others. It remained unclear how the son came into possession of the weapon. The charging of the father could signal a new approach in America's ongoing struggle to curb the epidemic of school shootings. In April, a Michigan teenager's parents were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison after being convicted of manslaughter following their son's deadly shooting of 4 classmates. This marked the first known instance where parents were held legally accountable for a school shooting.
Summer 2024 was the Earth's warmest on record, according to the European Union's Climate Monitoring Service. August also marked the 13th month in a 14-month stretch where global temperatures exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels.
This summer had set records across Europe, with temperatures 1.54 degrees Celsius above the 1991 to 2020 average, surpassing the previous record from 2022. Spain experienced its hottest August on record, Finland its joint warmest, and Switzerland its second warmest. The extreme heat raises the likelihood that 2024 will surpass 2023 as the hottest year since records began. The changing climate also fueled severe disasters over the last 3 months. Flooding in Sudan in August affected more than 300,000 people and triggered a cholera outbreak in the war-torn nation. Ongoing drought gripped the Italian islands of Sicily and Sardinia, while Typhoon Gemi, which hit the Philippines, Taiwan and China in July, claimed over 100 lives.
Super Typhoon Yagi is making landfall on China's Hainan Island, bringing heavy rain and powerful winds to the southern Chinese coastline, including Hong Kong and Macau. Chinese state media reports that 400,000 people have been evacuated in Hainan. Schools are closed for a second day and flights across the region have been cancelled. This morning, the storm's wind speeds reached 245 kilometers per hour, making Yagi the second most powerful tropical cyclone anywhere in the world for 2024. The storm is expected to impact a large swath of China before moving off towards Vietnam and Laos over the weekend. In response, 4 airports in northern Vietnam have been shut. Yagi doubled in strength after striking the northern Philippines, where it killed 16 people. Linkin Park has returned with a new lineup, introducing their first work since the passing of lead vocalist Chester Bennington in 2017. The band has introduced a new vocalist, Emily Armstrong, as well as drummer Colin Britton, while retaining some long-time members such as Mike Shinoda, Brad Delson, Dave Phoenix Farrell and Joe Hunt.
Shinoda and Armstrong will share vocal duties. The band is also set to release a new single titled The Emptiness Machine and announce their new album, From Zero, which will be released on November 15. Linkin Park, one of the most popular bands of the 2000s, achieved their greatest fame with the iconic vocalist Bennington. However, their artistic journey came to a halt after Bennington died at the age of 41. The band has also released several reissues of their popular albums, including the 20th anniversary editions of Hybrid Theory and Meteora, as well as a collection of hits titled Paper Cuts. Linkin Park also announced a world tour titled From Zero World Tour with 5 concerts scheduled in Los Angeles, New York, Hamburg, London and Seoul, along with one in Bogota, Colombia this November.
That wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Faye Kwan. Thank you for watching and good night.